Imagine a country where the people are angry, hopeless, and desperate for change. Now imagine a leader stepping to a podium and within minutes convincing millions to follow him, even if it means committing the unthinkable. This is not fiction. This is the story of Adolf Hitler and how his speeches became one of the most dangerous examples of communication in history. To understand why Hitler's words worked, you need to understand the mood of Germany in the 1920s and 1930s. The country had lost World War I. The economy was shattered. People were jobless, hungry, and angry at their government. Inflation was so bad that salaries could barely buy bread. A nation that once saw itself as powerful was now humiliated and looking for someone to blame. During World War I, Hitler was just an ordinary soldier. But after the war, he got involved into politics and soon found himself with an opportunity. The chance to speak to a large crowd. One speech became two, two became dozens. Eventually, Hitler delivered around 8,000 speeches in his lifetime. There were two main techniques Hitler used again and again. First, exploiting insecurity. Human beings have a natural tendency. When life goes wrong, we often prefer to find someone else to blame rather than look into the mirror. It's easier to point a finger at a person, a group, an institution than to accept our own role in the problem. Hitler tapped into the same tendency perfectly. He told Germans, "You are not responsible for this misery. Someone else is. And I'll tell you exactly who." And that who was Jewish community. Second, triggering disgust. But blaming alone wasn't enough. Hitler associated Jews with something people already feared and hated. Rats. And you know why rats? At that time, rats were not just pests. They were seen as deadly. People remembered the bubonic plague, which had killed tens of millions in Europe. Some island lost nearly the entire population. And in people's minds, rats were the carriers of death. So when Hitler repeated phrases like Jews are rats, he wasn't just insulting them. He was planting a mental image. Jews are disease, danger, and death. This repetition worked so deeply that during post-war interviews, Nazi officers claimed that they never even saw Jews as human beings, but only as dangerous pests that had to be eliminated to protect the nation. And this wasn't whispered in dark rooms. It was shouted from podiums, printed on posters, and repeated until disgust replaced empathy. But wait, weren't Germans intelligent? After all, Germany at that time was producing world-class scientists, engineers, and inventors. They built tanks, aircrafts, and weapons, considered technological marvels. How could such an educated society believe in such nonsense? The answer is storytelling. Hitler's speeches were emotional, repetitive, and simple that they didn't even debate, they declared. And they were built to appeal to every German, from professors to factory workers. And this is roughly how his speeches sounded like. These Jews are parasites, feeding on the body of other nations. Germany welcomed them by the hundreds of thousands without hesitation. But now, when the nation refuses to be drained any longer, we are surrounded by their cries and complaints. This is a battle against a sickness that infects whole people, an international pestilence. How many diseases have their roots in the Jewish virus? We will regain our health only by eliminating them. If this battle is not fought, Germany will decay and sink like a rotting corpse. This kind of language went on for hours, repeated over thousands of speeches, and reinforced by Nazi posters showing Jews as pests feeding on the corpse of Germans. Over time, logic disappeared, disgust took over, and millions paid the price in the Holocaust. Now, here are three learnings from this incident. First, as an audience, if any leader tries to isolate a group and blames them for all your problems, recognize it for what it is: propaganda. Second, as an individual, don't let your insecurities be manipulated. From politicians to even those close to you can use your fears to control you. Third, as a communicator, once you understand what your audience deeply cares about, You can frame your message so it moves them to action. That's the true power of storytelling, a power that can be used for good or for unimaginable evil. This is why studying history isn't just about the past, it's about recognizing the techniques of influence that are still being used today. And as someone learning the art of communication, you now know exactly how dangerous and powerful words can be.